Your child hears their name 5 times, but they don't respond. Not because they're ignoring you, they genuinely didn't register it. Or maybe your child can build a Lego set for 2 hours straight, but can't sit through a 5-minute homework task. You tell them to get their shoes and backpack. They get the shoes, come back, and ask, "What did you say again?" Transitions from one activity to another trigger complete meltdowns. And after a full day at school where teachers say they're fine, they come home and fall apart. You might think it's attitude, or defiance, or just their personality. But what if it's not? What if these are subtle signs of ADHD that most parents completely miss? Today, we're breaking down 10 hidden ADHD signs that don't match the stereotypical hyperactive kid bouncing off the walls image. Because ADHD is not just about hyperactivity. It's a neurodevelopmental condition that affects attention, impulse control, emotional regulation, working memory, and executive function. And many of the symptoms look like bad behavior when they're actually brain-based struggles. If you've ever wondered why your child can focus intensely on things they love but can't follow simple instructions, why emotions escalate so quickly, or why they seem capable one moment and completely overwhelmed the next, this video will explain the neuroscience behind those behaviors in a way that finally makes sense. Let's start with sign number 1. Inconsistent attention. This is the one that confuses parents the most. Your child can hyperfocus on video games, art projects, or building things for hours. But ask them to do homework, clean their room, or listen during a conversation, and it's like their brain shuts off. Parents often think, if they can focus on what they want, they're just being lazy about everything else. But that's not how ADHD works. ADHD brains don't have an attention deficit, they have attention dysregulation. They can't consistently control where their attention goes. Here's the neuroscience. The ADHD brain has lower levels of dopamine, a neurotransmitter that helps with motivation, focus, and reward processing. Activities that are highly stimulating, novel, or interesting naturally produce dopamine, which is why kids with ADHD can hyperfocus on things they find engaging. But tasks that are boring, repetitive, or require sustained effort don't produce enough dopamine to keep the brain engaged. So the attention drifts. It's not a choice. It's how their brain is wired. When you see your child intensely focused on a video game but unable to focus on homework, you're not seeing defiance. You're seeing the dopamine difference. Sign number 2, zoning out and not responding to their name. This happens constantly in families with ADHD, and parents often interpret it as ignoring or being disrespectful. But what's actually happening is that the child's brain is somewhere else. They're not purposely tuning you out. Their attention has latched on to an internal thought, a daydream, or something in their environment, and they genuinely don't hear you. You call their name 5 times, and they're startled when you finally touch their shoulder, because from their perspective, you just appeared out of nowhere. This is called inattentive ADHD, and it's often missed because these kids aren't disruptive. They're quiet, compliant, and easy to overlook. But internally, their attention is constantly drifting. Sign number 3, time blindness. For kids with ADHD, time doesn't feel linear. 5 minutes and 2 hours feel the same. They have no internal sense of time passing, which is why they're always surprised when you say it's time to leave, even though you told them 10 minutes ago. This isn't about not listening. It's about the brain's inability to estimate and track time. The prefrontal cortex, which manages time awareness, is underactive in ADHD. So when you say, "We're leaving in 5 minutes," your child hears it, but 5 minutes later, it feels like you just told them. This leads to constant conflict around transitions, getting ready, and time management. And parents often think the child just doesn't care. But they do. Their brain just doesn't process time the way yours does. Sign number 4, transition meltdowns. This is huge and often mistaken for defiance or inflexibility. Kids with ADHD struggle with cognitive flexibility, the brain's ability to shift from one task or mindset to another. When you tell them it's time to stop playing and come to dinner, their brain doesn't smoothly shift gears. It feels jarring, almost painful. The emotional reaction you see, the tantrum, the meltdown, the refusal, isn't about the dinner. It's about the brain struggling to transition. Add in time blindness, where the transition feels sudden even though you warn them, and you get an explosive reaction that looks like bad behavior, but is actually executive function overload. Before we continue, if any of this is clicking, if you're starting to see your child's behavior through a different lens, do me a favor. Hit that like button, drop a comment, and tell me, which of these signs have you noticed in your child? Subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint for content that helps you understand the neuroscience behind behavior, not just surface-level fixes. We also have a membership with 2 exclusive levels offering deeper dives, ADHD-specific strategies, and a community of parents navigating this together. If you want real tools, not just judgment, check it out below. Sign number 5. Quiet impulsivity during independent play. Most people think ADHD impulsivity looks like a child running around, interrupting constantly, or acting without thinking in obvious ways. But impulsivity also shows up quietly, especially during play. Watch your child closely during independent playtime. Do they dump out every toy to find one thing? Start one activity, immediately switch to another, then another, without finishing anything? Make impulsive decisions in games that don't make strategic sense? This is cognitive impulsivity. Their brain is moving faster than their ability to plan, organize, or think ahead. They're not being careless or destructive. Their executive function, the brain's ability to pause, plan, and execute, isn't keeping up with their impulses. Sign number 6, frequent interruptions and conversational impulse control. If your child interrupts constantly, talks over people, or blurts out answers before you finish the question, you've probably told them 100 times, wait your turn. But here's what's happening in their brain. The thought appears, and the impulse to speak is so strong that by the time they remember they're supposed to wait, the words are already out. It's not rudeness, it's an impulse control delay. The prefrontal cortex, which manages impulse inhibition, develops more slowly in ADHD brains. So they know the rule. They want to follow it, but the brain's brake system isn't fast enough to stop the impulse. Sign number 7, working memory failures and forgotten instructions. This one frustrates parents more than almost anything. You give your child a simple 2-step instruction. Go upstairs, brush your teeth, and get your backpack. They go upstairs, then they come back and ask, what did you want me to do? You told them 30 seconds ago. How could they forget? Because working memory, the brain's ability to hold and manipulate information temporarily, is often weak in ADHD. It's not that they weren't listening. The information got into their brain, but it didn't stay long enough for them to act on it. Think of working memory like a whiteboard. In a neurotypical brain, the writing stays there long enough to complete the task. In an ADHD brain, the writing starts fading almost immediately. By the time your child reaches the stairs, the second part of the instruction is already gone. Sign number 8, risky impulsivity and safety awareness gaps. Kids with ADHD often have a higher rate of accidents, injuries, and close calls. They climb too high, run into the street, touch hot things, or do something dangerous without thinking. Parents interpret this as carelessness or not listening to warnings. But what's actually happening is a delayed connection between action and consequence. The ADHD brain struggles with predictive thinking. If I do this, then that will happen. So the child acts on impulse without mentally rehearsing the outcome. They're not trying to be reckless. Their brain isn't running a safety simulation fast enough to stop the action before it happens. Sign number 9, emotional sensitivity to corrections, also known as rejection-sensitive dysphoria, or RSD. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of ADHD. Your child makes a small mistake. You offer gentle correction, and they completely fall apart. Sobbing, defensive, shut down, or explosive. You think, Why are they overreacting? I barely said anything. But to a child with ADHD and RSD, even mild criticism feels like devastating rejection. Their brain interprets correction as failure or proof they're not good enough. This isn't manipulation or drama. It's emotional dysregulation rooted in how the ADHD brain processes social feedback. They feel emotions more intensely and have less ability to regulate them once they start. So what feels like a slight overreaction to you feels like emotional flooding to them. Sign number 10. Masking at school and after-school emotional crashes. Teachers say your child is fine at school, focused, well-behaved, no issues. But the moment they get home, they melt down. They're irritable, emotional, and impossible to manage. Parents think if they can behave at school, why can't they behave at home? Here's why. Many ADHD kids, especially girls and those with inattentive type, spend all day masking. They're using every ounce of mental energy to sit still, focus, follow rules, and appear okay. It's exhausting. By the time they get home, they're completely depleted. Home is where they feel safe enough to fall apart. So the meltdown isn't bad behavior. It's a nervous system that's been holding it together all day and finally has permission to collapse. These 10 signs are just the surface. ADHD affects executive function, which includes planning, organizing, initiating tasks, self-monitoring, emotional regulation, and cognitive flexibility. When you understand that these aren't character flaws but brain-based delays, everything changes. You stop taking the behavior personally. You stop seeing defiance where there's actually struggle, and you start responding with strategies that actually help instead of punishments that make things worse. So what do you do if you're recognizing these signs in your child? First, understand that ADHD is not about bad parenting or a lack of discipline. It's neurodevelopmental. The brain's executive function system develops more slowly, and in some cases, it remains less efficient throughout life. This doesn't mean your child can't succeed. It means they need support, accommodations, and strategies that work with their brain, not against it. And the earlier you recognize it, the better, because years of being misunderstood, punished for symptoms, and told to just try harder erode a child's self-esteem and create secondary issues like anxiety, depression, and learned helplessness. Step 1. Get a proper evaluation. If you're seeing multiple signs consistently across different settings, home, school, social situations, talk to your pediatrician or seek an evaluation from a psychologist who specializes in ADHD. A proper diagnosis requires observation, parent and teacher questionnaires, and ruling out other conditions like anxiety, trauma, or learning differences that can look similar. Don't rely on a 5-minute conversation with a doctor. ADHD evaluations should be thorough. Step 2. Educate yourself on ADHD-friendly strategies. Parenting an ADHD child requires different approaches than neurotypical parenting. Traditional consequences often don't work because the child isn't choosing the behavior. Their brain is struggling to regulate it. Instead, focus on these strategies. Use visual reminders, written checklists, timers, visual schedules. External cues help compensate for weak working memory. Break tasks into tiny steps. Instead of clean your room, try put your books on the shelf. Then put your clothes in the hamper, one step at a time. Give time warnings for transitions. We're leaving in 10 minutes, then 5 minutes, then 2 minutes. Repeat it. Use a timer so they can see time passing. Build in movement breaks. ADHD brains need movement to focus. Let them fidget, bounce on a yoga ball, or take a lap around the house between tasks. Use positive reinforcement more than consequences. Catch them doing things right. ADHD kids hear no and stop constantly. They need to hear what they're doing well to build motivation and self-worth. Simplify instructions. 1 or 2 steps max. Make eye contact. Have them repeat it back to confirm they heard and retained it. Step 3. Advocate at school. If your child has ADHD, they may qualify for accommodations under a 504 plan or IEP. This can include preferential seating, extended time on tests, movement breaks, reduced homework load, or organizational support. Schools are legally required to provide these accommodations, but you have to ask. Many teachers assume the child is lazy or not trying, when really they're working twice as hard as everyone else just to keep up. Educate the school, share resources. Be your child's advocate because no one else will. Step 4. Protect their self-esteem. Kids with ADHD hear an average of 20,000 more negative messages by age 10 than their neurotypical peers. 20,000. Pay attention. Stop interrupting. Why can't you remember? Try harder. These messages become their internal voice. They start believing they're broken, stupid, or bad. Your job is to counter that narrative every single day. Celebrate effort, not just results. Acknowledge the struggle. I know focusing on homework is really hard for your brain. I'm proud of you for trying. Normalize ADHD. Explain it in age-appropriate terms. Your brain works differently. It's not bad, it's just different, and we're going to figure out what helps. Step 5. Take care of yourself. Parenting an ADHD child is exhausting. The constant reminders, the emotional intensity, the misunderstandings from others who don't get it. You will feel frustrated, overwhelmed, and sometimes resentful. That's normal. Find support. Join ADHD parent groups online or locally. Connect with other parents who understand. Seek therapy if you need it, especially if you also have ADHD, which is highly hereditary. And practice self-compassion. You're doing your best in a situation that's genuinely hard. Here's what I want you to remember. ADHD is real. It's not an excuse, it's an explanation. And when you understand the neuroscience, when you see that your child isn't choosing to forget, interrupt, or melt down, you can respond with empathy instead of frustration. You can implement strategies that actually work instead of repeating the same punishments that never did. And most importantly, you can protect your child's spirit while still teaching them skills they need. Before we close, I need to hear from you. Hit that like button if this helped you see your child's behavior differently. Drop a comment and tell me, which sign did you recognize most? Have you been wondering if your child has ADHD, or have you already been through the diagnosis process? Subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint for neuroscience-backed content that helps you understand your child's brain. Share this with a parent who's struggling, who's been told their child just needs more discipline, who feels like they're failing. They need to know there's a reason behind the behavior, and there are strategies that actually help. ADHD doesn't mean your child is broken. It means their brain is wired differently, and with the right support, understanding, and strategies, they can absolutely thrive. The first step is seeing the signs. The second step is responding with compassion, not punishment. And the third step is building a life that works with their brain, not against it. You've got this, and so does your child.